Alright, so this is round 2 of the league that I played today. And this is definitely a keepable hand. This tells me my opponent's on some sort of ley line. So I don't play, I don't think I play the duress yet. I think I play the shredder first. Yeah. And I'm going to use the bobble shredder to basically act as a surveil. And I see a lantern on top, and that makes this a perfect hand. So I'm going to start blind milling my opponent. So I do the duress first, so I can make sure the lantern will resolve. I don't have to worry about them getting rid of the shredder with the binding, because Saga's going to give me another one. So I grab the force of negation so that they can't counter bridge. I know that once I resolve bridge, their only outs are going to be more ley lines. So play the Saga so I can get ready to set up the lock. And there happens to be a trophy on top, so I can get my shredder back if I need it. So I go ahead and play the bridge now. So they have to use expressive iteration to get something good. So I go for another bridge, just in case. So that now they need 2 bindings. And the game is pretty simple to win from here. Able to use my catacombs to change my top deck. Stirrings. I grab the gardens so I can copy my shredder to make another. They're obviously going to surveil that to the top. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wait until their draw step, and I'm going to mill this. That way if they have instant speed draw, they have to use that instant speed draw, or they can try to shuffle to keep that off. And now since I see that they're about to draw a force, I decide to use my trophy now on the binding so that I can get an extra shredder. And it also changes their top deck, so they draw a counterspell instead. And at this point, the game's over. I don't have to cast the bridge here, I'm gonna copy the shredder with my gardens. And I'm just milling them to increase the clock, because there's so few cards that matter. It's crazy they had 3 good cards in a row there. So that's 3 of their 4 bindings gone. There's another one on top. They cannot win the game from here, but they're gonna keep playing anyways. So I see the triome on top. I'm gonna use the needle on that, so they can't draw at instant speed. And now they're gonna make me play it out, because they're trying to clock me. But I'm gonna win. So yeah, it's a pretty easy game from here. Yep. I think I used my Pixis here. I probably should have used my lantern on myself first. Yeah, they have 3 cards in library, so I just mill them out and then pass turn. And they lose. So yeah, going to game 2. Let's see. For the sideboard, I don't remember. I remember I sided out my cage, and I sided out a needle. I sided in 2 Terra Cinders, and that should be it. The Terra Cinders, obviously, for the Leyline are the Scion. And Terra Cinder will also take care of, like, I can kick it to get rid of, like, a Murktide or something. I cannot keep this hand. I can, however, keep this one, I think. Ragavan is a little scary here. And so I see their hand. I see the binding and the iteration. I can take care of the binding with the Terra Cinder. And then I can draw a discard spell if I need to for iteration, if iteration even hits anything good. And I grab the moon so that I can saga. I'm just kind of hoping that Ragavan doesn't have a discard, so they get the iteration. My opponent, I think, tries to cast or suspend the Profane Tutor. Yeah. I could have made my opponent shuffle last turn, but it doesn't really matter because I can get rid of the binding and I'll just get my lantern back, and I'm willing to give up my saga for that. And so I don't cast any of this yet because I know they're going to make me sack my saga. So instead I'm going to make a blocker for Ragavan so I don't have to worry about that anymore. Oh, that's gone and that's gone. I do have to worry about hitting a third land to play the bridge though. And here comes the Murktide. I'm willing to trade my construct for that Ragavan. So stirrings to try to make sure I hit the land. I did want the Pixis, but I need to land more. And I get a basic. It does mean that I can't tear asunder quite yet, but that's okay. And I needle, they don't fetch in response, so I name Wooded Foothills. So now I know I'm set. They have to top deck exactly Leyline Binding, and they do not. So I figured they probably drew a counter, so I lure out the counter with the Shredder. And then I'll get rid of the Leyline Binding to get my lantern back. The Alpine Moon is unfortunate, but I have a Pixis coming up, so it's okay. And with that, that's going to be game. I was tempted not to use the Pixis there, but I chose to do it anyways. And I'll go ahead and get rid of the moon so that future sagas will work. Excuse me. And I don't want them to draw the what's it called, the force. And I figure if they have something else on top, I can make them shuffle. Pick your poison. I'm not worried about it at all. But I mean, I guess, yeah, because I could just sack a lantern to the pick your poison. It won't matter. But I don't want the duress, and I want to try to hit another mill rock with my stirrings, and I don't want them to have the instant explosives, so I use Pixis to get rid of both the duress and the explosives, so I can dig deeper for another mill rock. And fortunately, there is another mill rock, and my opponent concedes. So, fortunately, it seems like not a bad matchup at all.